motto is like, we are the best in the world and I want to be the best in the world. Maybe it's like delusional at this point, but I think you need to be delusionally confident at times too in what you're willing to achieve and what you're setting out to do.
Constructing your life is about much more than just building a bank account. Each week, join mindset coach Austin Linney as he interviews guests who are constructing their dream lives and impacting the world around them on a daily basis. If you're an entrepreneur or wanting to start a business, or you just want to hear motivating stories of how others have overcome the odds, you are in the right place. And now for your host, Austin Linney.
Guys, welcome back to Construct Your Life. I got Austin Linney. No, I'm Austin Linney. That's Andy Walker. So see, I don't even know what's going on half the time. Mr. Andy Walker's in the house. How are you doing, sir?
I couldn't be better. I'm glad to be here. I'm excited.
Wonderful. So I'll do a little intro about who you are and we'll add it in the episode. But, the problem is that, digital marketing has so many different forms, right? Nobody even understands what works anymore. But more importantly, the big dogs that you advertise on Facebook, Google, etc., they also decide to change their mind every couple of weeks. So so I know enough because I have my own brand and I do stuff, right? So I'm different than most. I have a podcast and stuff. But as a business owner, how would one even begin to understand what works and what doesn't work these days?
Yeah, to be completely honest, I think you need to outsource to people who are smarter than you. But the issue is in the online world and online marketing specifically, I guess marketing, as long as time has been around, info product commercials on TV and things like that are full of, I don't know if you want to use the word scammers, but people that aren't providing great value for what you're transacting for.
I call them bro dudes with Lambos.
Yeah. So to be completely honest, if it were me and I owned a physical home service business, I would learn some basics just from videos on Twitter. I'd pay for a couple consulting calls with people to just have a base level of knowledge and then hire people to do it for me. Because if you think that you're going to get in and run a Google ads campaign and you're not going to be throwing money in the fire pit, you're just honestly lying to yourself. Just the simple fact of you being able to understand the ads interface that quickly. If you think you're just going to come in and set it up and you're not going to be getting clicks for all of these random words, you're going to let it run 24 hours, you're going to be getting clicks from India in the middle of the night, costing you money and things like that. It's just, you're going to spend money. You're going to definitely spend money to work with somebody good. And that's always the case, right? You always have to pay up for the higher quality, whether it's a physical product, like a speaker, you want to buy a nice set of headphones, you're going to buy Bose headphones, because if you go buy like the Skull candies, they're going to give out on you in like 3 months. You definitely pay for what you get. So finding the right people, and you're going to pay a high price point to work with good people. It's simple. If you want quality, that's what you're going to have to do. But I just think you can accelerate the growth curve of your business by working with the right people and outsourcing knowledge to people who outsourcing, these tasks to people who actually have the knowledge and do this on a daily basis, because you're going to be the best at what you do every single day. And when you allow someone to be the best at what they do every single day for you, the results are likely going to be better. So I think it really comes outsourcing.
And think of it from a business point of view, me sitting in that position. People think I'm paying for skill sets. That's not what I'm paying for. Look at my vendors. Look at the people that do my marketing. Look at all these things. I'm paying for trust. I'm paying for trust. Everybody has the same shit. Everybody can learn the same stuff. But when I tell my marketing company that I like, oh my God, look at the results from January. It's amazing. Let's double the money. And he tells me, yeah, you're not going to really see any return from that. You shouldn't do that. And I go, what? Yep. He goes, no. It's a different month now. And this changed. And you're just dumping money into a black hole. Don't do that. And I'm like,
yep.
Okay, that's what I'm paying for. I'm not paying for SEO practices, digital marketing ads. People can learn that. I'm paying for somebody that feels comfortable enough with me to have a conversation to say, no, I don't think you should do that. That's a partner, not a vendor, not a third party person.
Yeah. And the best people are the ones that actually don't have all of the answers, right? When you're willing to admit that, hey, I'm not sure. I don't know if this is the route that you want to go. I don't know if this is going to get you that outcome that you're looking for. We can try it. We can test it, but I can't say with 100% certainty that this is going to happen. So we need to run X, Y, and Z tests to see if this is even possible for us to achieve this. Because I find it when I talk to other people, And I know our clients appreciate it a lot, is when you're willing to say, I'm not sure, I don't know that answer. You don't always have to have an answer. When you're willing to admit where you lack knowledge in something and you're unsure if maybe even if you're the right person to get them that result, it being then what comes as also very valuable is when you have been doing this for a long time, you have a network and you know that this person is way better at you than this. And it's like, I want to connect you with this guy because I think I'm more confident that he's going to be able to achieve this result for you than I would being able to do this.
No, I love that. And so, business owner, personal brand, whatever it is, this day, where do you start? Like, where do you even go? I've always thought. So for me, I'll just use me as an example, and then I'll let you go off of this. YouTube for me has been a black hole since I started the podcast. I don't get it. I haven't put much time there, but it's a place where all my videos live for eternity. So I'm cool with that. Instagram is 24-second stories. It's there. So I've gone heavier on those because that's more immediate, short term. And I think there'll become a day where I start optimizing the YouTube stuff, but it's like a vault for me. And instead of me trying to be in a million places and focus in 5 different places, I'm focused on, Twitter, X right now, because that's where majority of the business people that I want to meet are. And I don't stress about the YouTube stuff.
Yeah, I think what you're explaining is you're finding one acquisition channel that works and you're going to run it dry. You're going to work at it as hard as possible. But I think that's the right steps if you just have a YouTube channel and you're going to start uploading to YouTube, it's going to be terribly difficult because the traffic to the YouTube channel has to come from somewhere, which typically is going to be Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter is going to be able to drive traffic there. But once you build the traffic sources on those other social platforms, and then you build an email list, and this basically comes down to an entire funnel. So you have your social media ads, you have your organic content, you have partnerships, you have cold outreach, and then so this is like kind of my funnel, right? So you have all of those sources where you gather leads and you send them to a lead magnet. A lead magnet is something of value that you can provide somebody that they will give you their email and contact information to receive. And I believe that your lead magnet should be something that's so good that people would be willing to pay $500 for it, but they're going to get it for free. They're going to be so amazed by this knowledge in it. But what's going to happen then is you now have their email, and now you can contact them at any time. So now you can deeply ingrain them into your content ecosystem. So with their email, now let's introduce them to the podcast. Let's introduce them to my YouTube channel because they likely found you from one of those sources. They found you from Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, or through a paid ad, or through some sort of cold outreach, or a partner recommended them to you. So they only know you from that one point, and that's going to be great. They're going to get the lead magnet. They think this is awesome. This is fantastic. This is great. But then they're never going to see you again. So that's your opportunity now to push them further down your ecosystem. So you push them to the podcast, you push them to the other social channels. But what I'm getting to is back to YouTube here is I think you push them to these channels, which is going to eventually get them to the long form content, where the long form content is going to be the people that you really want to talk to, the people that want to learn. So Hormozy just came out with this video. It was like a keynote type of speech, and it was about like 40 minutes long. It was like how he went from 0 to like 7 million total followers across his social base, and what they learned from the data that they collected, because his ultimate goal is to have people come to him so he can acquire portions of their company through acquisition.com. And what he learned is like that valuetainment, that entertainment style gets a lot of eyeballs and gets a lot of traction, but the people that are actually going to be a partner with him are the people that consume this long form content. So that's where YouTube is super valuable, because you build a much deeper level of trust and connection through like a podcast and YouTube because it's long form content. But then the value of YouTube is nobody on Instagram is watching your reels from 3 years ago. But all the time on YouTube, I'm watching a Sam Ovens video from 8 years ago. I'm watching a Hormozy video from 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A song from 9 years ago. So that's so technically, for lack of a better word, now it already made sense a couple years ago, but that's technically evergreen content is what they're talking about. Right. Yep. That's so relate that to a business, right? There's a lot of people, like, perfect example. And I really don't want to get railed for this. I don't like TikTok. Don't want to do it. Don't have any. No thanks. Right. Because I believe there's a lot of eyeballs. There's not a lot of buyers. But maybe I'm wrong. But as a business, guess what Guess what? No matter how old they are, guess what they always have? Facebook. No matter how old.
Yep.
They may not have Instagram, they may not have TikTok. So for me in the business world, our business lives on Facebook.
Facebook is
Sellers,
overly slept
sellers,
on.
sellers. Because here's the thing, they're not engaging with us. They're seeing the content from Facebook, calling us, or then going to the website. It's a foray to the website.
Yep. It's the top of the funnel. It's where they get the initial eyeballs to then go to the website. And then, it's the top of the funnel. So the majority of the traffic is there at Facebook. And then as it goes down the funnel, it obviously narrows. So 100% of the people see the post, 20% of them go to the website, 5% of them become leads, 1% of them become a customer, right?
Okay.
And so you always have to have some sort of top of funnel source, which is typically like your short form content on Facebook, et cetera. But like for physical businesses like yours, ones that have a good Facebook page and good Facebook following, crush.
Mm-hmm.
It's so hard to do. It's so incredibly difficult. And I think the only reason that most people fail is because it happens slowly. You're not going to just post on a business, like, because the content's not sexy. It's not like super entertaining.
It's top of mind. I'm not expecting to convert.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's just staying in front of them and always seeing it. Right. And what I found is that the stuff that's non-business, right? Meaning we did something for the community or the Votech school or a happy birthday, gets way more traffic. But the thing is like what I found for people, this is what I don't think enough people do as a business owner. Your reputation, you actually don't have any idea about your reputation until you go out in the community. Anytime I'm at a golf tournament and the stuff that people say to me, you're like, what? They saw that? And I don't think people realize that your presence is not judged in the digital space off of likes and comments. Like there's a lot of people that see stuff all the time and notice things. Like the perfect example is like, why is it like a branded van? Like, why does that work? I've never written down a number, like ever.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They were talking about this the other day. You don't like literally type the number in your phone, but the moment that you need it, you think of the van that you saw.
Yep. Yeah, because a lot of those people from like social media, they're not going to become, it's not like you make a post and you get a lead from it. It's you're building a lot of goodwill, you're building just familiarization. People are becoming familiar with the brand and they grow a liking to your brand, especially if you're funny. I think you can definitely do a lot with memes, like whatever the trendy memes are with physical businesses as well. I think that you can do a lot with that. It just shows that you're fun and not average and boring. But like these people that follow this page, they just see the content, they're not initially going to become a customer right away, especially dependent upon your service. Like, if you need a plumber, it's not like you're just looking for a plumber that you just need. It's like when something happens, you'll need a plumber.
Yeah.
Right? And that goes for a lot of other businesses. But now you're top of mind. So 8 months down the road, when they have a leak at their house, they know exactly the plumber that they're going to call.
Yeah, dude, it's just plumber is not something that a lot of people think about on a day-to-day basis until you need it, and then you really need it, right? And so, isn't that just an understanding from a business or personal brand situation in the digital marketing space, the internet marketing, where longevity really is the key and consistency is the engine, right? I mean, that's what I think the number one thing that people don't pay attention to.
Yeah, I think that can translate to everything, like in life, from sports, your family. Consistency is everything, and most people that don't make it is because they're not willing to be consistent long enough. So when we started our business, our motto, it's going to sound funny. I got this. I don't know if you consume any Gary Vee content. I used to consume him a lot when I was younger, and he had this thing he would talk about. He's like, I ate shit. He's like, I literally ate shit for like 18 years. I worked at my dad's liquor store. People would come in that I went to high school with. They were on Wall Street. They're making $1 million a year, and I'd walk their wine out to their car. I'd sit in the trunk, and they'd look at me like, feeling sad, feeling disappointed for me. But he's like, little did they know, I was just eating shit. I was eating shit and waiting for my moment to attack. And it's the same concept. We take that into our business. That's our team motto: is eat shit. It's like people will request a ton of things from you that are outside the deliverables of your service, but you just do it and don't even say anything. You just do it. It just eat shit. Provide the best customer experience possible. Just do it. We're just gonna, I mean, if it's something crazy, obviously we can't do it, but when there's like certain things, and they might consume like an extra hour or two of time per month, but it's like, we're just going to do it because we're the best in the world. We want to be the best in the world. And this is what someone does that is the best in the world at providing their service. They do all of it. There's no stones left unturned, because, my motto is like, we are the best in the world, and I want to be the best in the world. Maybe it's like delusional at this point, but I think you need to be delusionally confident at times too in what you're willing to achieve and what you're setting out to do. Think about walking into a fight against like Conor McGregor, someone who's delusionally confident. It's going to be really, you're going to have to go to a war you're going to have to be even more delusionally confident to beat Conor McGregor in a fight. These guys have just absolutely no doubt. You literally brainwashed themselves into success. There's not a single period of time where they're letting any negative outside talk come in they put their headphones on, they listen to a podcast. It's all going to be positive, all about hard work, achieving things like that. They're not listening to about, I don't know, the news stories on whatever the event of the day is that's going to pass by in 2 weeks. That's all skipped out on.
I'm obsessed with golf. Okay, it was other sports, now it's golf. I love to play golf. My team plays golf. I watch golf. It's the most asinine place to perform on, right? Anybody that goes and golfs on a Saturday with your boys, can you imagine? Like, the wind's blowing, you're on the hardest course ever, and you have to get it within 10 feet, on a par 3 with 10,000 people watching you. It's absolutely insane. And you have the guys at the lower levels shooting 60s and minus 10s on a regular basis that can't make the main tour. And this is the game. And then the douchebag that's on golf Twitter who's never broken 80 is like, oh, that guy sucks. And I'm like, dude, this guy has been working since he was like 9 years old to do this. Like, that level. The thing I tell anybody that comes on board with us, I just hired a guy this morning. Oxygen is different with us. The first couple weeks with us, you're going to feel like you can't breathe. That's because we move faster and expect more than anybody you've ever met. But that's because the more we do as a company and the better we get, the more you can feed your family, the more money you can make, the more you can grow. That's the mission, period, end of story. If you want to jump on board with that, that's great. But we are going to be the best in our area at what we do from soup to nuts. Dude, I got a review yesterday. Dude, who gives a shit about the other reviews? You know what it said? My 8-year-old wanted to hug your tech, and the tech let him hug him, and he was very nice about it. That right there tells me everything I need. I don't even know who it was. Wow. Now we're affecting more than just installing a fucking furnace.
Yeah, that'll bring a tear to your eye reading that, probably.
Yes.
I would think. It almost did for me. It was touching.
I mean, like, come on. And as a business owner, that's the thermostat of my company. I don't get everything, especially in the position I'm in with the CEO running it. So, like, this little 2-sentence review is like how I judge whether we got our shit together or not. Like, it's so ridiculous.
Going back to the golf side of things, so I was a wrestler, and that's like the only sport I really care about. And I like fighting because it's, basically wrestling as well. But I watched the Full Swing docuseries on Netflix, and I became an instant golf. I mean, I do like sports. I just love learning about the people who compete at them at the highest level. Like the Tom Brady documentary would be awesome. The Michael Jordan documentary, The Last Dance, was amazing.
Have you watched the one on Newcastle football?
I haven't. Okay. Nope.
You have to go on Amazon. It's the big fund from Saudi Arabia, and watching these people talk business and the level that they expect changed my whole life. I watched it in like 2 days. It's absolutely insane how much they care about the product they put on the field and how hard those people work.
Yep. Yeah, I say that same thing to my clients, if they're a little bit, because a lot of people have been burned by agencies. And I learned this because I used to be a physical therapist. So something that I learned was patient education is like the top. That's the peak. Like, patient education is so important because in physical therapy, once somebody truly understands why they're doing what they're doing and how it's going to benefit them, the light bulb goes off in their head and the recovery process accelerates from that point on. So I translate that over to our business, where I know these people have been burned because it's the same setup. Like these people in healthcare, they were burned. They had bad doctor's appointments, a bad surgery, they had something, and they're projecting this negative experience they had onto you. But then to build trust, you have to educate them on why we're doing everything that we're doing and talk them through the entire process. And I tell them kind of the same thing about like at the highest level. I was like, this is my baby. This is my baby. This business is my child right now. I don't have any kids. This is my child. My face is on this business everywhere. This is my reputation. And I care about that so deeply that every single client that we have, I care so much about the results that you get. And if they're lacking, like I'm up at night dream. My wife knows that I just wake up at 2 a.m. because I'm dreaming about business and I'm just hot. I can't sleep because I'm in the dream, like, oh, I got to fix this. I got to do this. This has to improve for this specific person. I just wake up at 3 a.m. and I'm like, well, I might as well get to it now. And we might as well start. I'm up now. Let's do it. But like, that's just, I think how crazy and insane you have to be is that when you're really in the zone and you're really humming along, nothing else matters. It's that flow state. It's just such a beautiful experience to be in. That sleep at that point doesn't even matter. And you're just flown along so perfectly. Our whole team has been in this state for like the past 2 weeks, and it's just been a beautiful experience to watch it play out.
Because I know, like you put an example, if I'm hiring you, the dedication to your craft is above even my own needs as a client. So I would think that I could be very excited about what you're going to deliver for my company, right?
Yeah.
Like the thing is like we have a playbook, okay? And for our company, we just signed a second location. It's very simple. Austin is the first line of meeting everybody. That's me. I go in, I introduce myself. I'm going to the Chamber of Commerce later this week. I go to some coffee shops, strategic places. They get to know me. Then they meet the second part of the team. Then they meet the managers. Then we do some jobs. Here's a true story. I have not really talked outside on social media about me being the owner of this business yet. I'm in a small town. They don't like change. I want our business to be so great and the reviews be so big that our business speaks for ourselves, not me being the owner. And when it's time, I'll do that whole song and dance, and that's fine. And we'll do a story about it in the news and all that stuff. And you can get to know me. Right now, I just want it to be, you can't deny the quality of work we're giving. And so to talk about your thing, I say all that to say that it all starts with education. Like number one, you can't have a great brand, you can't have a great website, you can't have all those things if your execution and the actual operations of your company are dog shit.
Yep.
There's a lot of people, in Texas, you know what we call that, right?
What is it?
All hat, no cattle.
That's funny.
Meaning that you walk around in a cowboy hat, but you don't have a ranch or cattle. Right?
Yep.
And unfortunately, in the coaching business that I'm in, I have to do the same thing. My number one objective is to get over the shitty coaches that have burned people, and I have to gain their trust. It's the same thing you have to do as a digital marketing company.
Yep, exactly that. And I'm interested about, so you got this new location, and the way you're doing it is very similar to someone that I look up to a lot in business, which his name's Sam Parr. He built a hustle. He sold the hustle probably multiple 8 figures. It was a newsletter, a daily newsletter, and he sold it to HubSpot. And he started his new company, Hampton, maybe 2 years, maybe 3 years ago now. I don't know exactly when it was, but you knew he was building something behind the scenes because he's a host of the My First Million podcast, which is a pretty big one. And you knew he was building something behind the scenes because he would talk about it a little bit, but you would never know exactly what it was. And then later on, like a couple months ago, he talked about why he did it that way. He's like, I wanted to know that the product itself drove people and they wanted to use the product. People weren't just first using it because my face was behind it, my personal brand, and the power of sway that I have to push people to the product. Because you don't, he needed like actual real feedback from people who just organically wanted to use the product first and build the proper product before, because he knows once he was going to push it, it's going to go to scale fast. There's going to be a ton of inbound demand.
Here's a perfect example. Do you like music a lot?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so there's a thing in country music where a lot of the artists that you see now, the newer guys, the younger guys that are out that you starting to like, guess what they did before? They wrote songs. Like all your number one hits, like they wrote those for the big guys, and the big guys said, wait, no, you need to hear this guy. He's great. But they weren't out front. And so now you go, well, hold on. I really like that song. I wonder what their own songs are like. And then boom, they're like massive stars. Like that's in business. Like my product, meaning my brand, has to scale without me pushing it 24/7. Now, here's the problem is my digital brand as a company is everything to me. Everything. How we look, how we present, it's clean, not egotistical, not doing unprofessional stuff. That's really what, as an owner, it's what I'm protecting. And so I don't allow my digital agency does 156 businesses in the home service place. They're amazing, but most of their clients are in big cities. I'm not in a big city. I have told them if I see any of that big city shit, you're done. You have to let me dictate the tone of what we're presenting because I understand the people that I'm in the area with. And if I do that, they will no longer do business with us. So I'm willing to not do certain tactics. We're on the radio here, right? Who listens to the fucking radio? I don't listen to the fucking radio, but they do here. But here's what's crazy. We've got clients from the radio, but you know where we got more from? We've hired 3 people from the radio ads.
Really?
Because they're driving around in their car and going, wait, whoa, hold on. These guys are advertising on the radio. They must be doing great. And
it is a sign of legitimacy being advertised on a channel like that.
And so when you like, okay, first, I'm a client. We just met. Are you doing a deep dive on my website first? Are you looking social media? Where are you going? What are the steps?
Yeah, so we only do SEO and Google Ads primarily. Okay. SEO, Google Ads we did it in the past. We set it aside because this was my thought process. Michael Jordan couldn't be the best basketball player in the world and the best baseball player in the world. Yep. So Google Ads gone, wipe it out, push it. This was like over a year ago or so. Push it out. We're only doing SEO. We're going to become the best. Our processes are going to be perfect. So we only did SEO for a very long time, and now we have a couple Google ad clients, but very, very selective about who they are, because the mistake that I see a lot with people that want to run Google ads is they're in Austin, Texas, and they want to spend $1,000 a month on ads.
Good luck.
Yeah, so it's just like,
yeah, you're gonna be annihilated, dude. Let me explain something to you. I just know it because of the heating and AC company. The bloodbath is Phoenix, Arizona. Okay, you have to understand. You're dealing with a single location there called Parker's and Sons that does $245 million a year out of one location. In Kansas City, you have 7 private backed PE companies in that town, and you're going to spend $4,000 a month on ads. You're going to get annihilated. You know what I told the guy? You know what I told the guy? He was south of the city. I said, you see those 2 small cities that are outside the thing, 45 minutes? I said, go do business there. I said, you're going to spend half the money, and they're not going to go there. He goes, damn, I never thought about that.
Yeah, I think we talked about this when you came on our podcast too. It just, I say this to people all the time too, and I don't know. I believe in game selection, and game selection is where you in business you have in investing in business you have game selection. Warren Buffett says investing is a no strike game. You can watch as many pitches go by as you want, and you only have to swing at a pitch in your sweet spot. Business is the same exact thing, and for some reason people want to go hit against Nolan Ryan, or they want to go play basketball against Michael Jordan in the city when you don't have the pockets to possibly compete from digital aspect at all. Maybe you can provide the same quality of service, but it doesn't matter if you can't get the customers to provide it for. Or you can go to where I'm from in central Pennsylvania, where it's extremely rural, and maybe it's not. Maybe you're not going to have a business that does $40 or $50 million a year where I was. But if you're running like a plumbing HVAC business, it's definitely going to be multiple 7 figures, maybe 8 figures, because it's a very wide service area but low population density where nobody wants to compete. Everybody that's competing is just like, I grew up here, and when I was a kid I did some of this work, and now I do this. That's the competition that you're facing. It's not against really, really high level business people. You're
Well,
competing.
I drove through Lancaster, Pennsylvania for the first time last week on my way to the Capitol, and I go, I love it here. Like it's amazing, beautiful town, just broad. There's enough business going on. Like there are going to be some players in there, but you still can kind of team up. Perfect example, my area. There's a company that is very they have deep pockets and they have multiple other companies, but they aren't traditionally from the HVAC and plumbing space. They don't really get it. They're trying to put a different type of business on this. So they don't really have the ground game that we do when it comes to that. They're kind of throwing spaghetti at the wall. I get it. I think a lot of those people, look, perfect example. I don't want to get in the space industry and compete with Elon Musk.
Yeah,
Nothing
exactly,
about
yeah.
that excite me. So why are you going to Denver, Austin, Nashville, Phoenix? Why are you going in these markets? You are going to get run the fuck over. Look, you see this more than I do at the behind the scenes. What does a typical PE-backed big company in a major city, what are they spending on, let's say, Google AdWords per month, do you think, if you just had to guess?
30 to 50,000
And
for
that's
sure.
minimum, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's crazy to me. Do you know how much we spend? We spend like $4,000.
Yeah,
And
so
we have an 8x. We have an 8x return. 8x return.
Your cost per click is probably like $10 versus your cost per click is
no.
like
My
$30, $40.
My cost per click is $6.87, and my conversion is $40.
That's
38.
absolutely unheard of. It's
I know.
absolutely unheard of. And yeah, so if you don't have the pockets to compete in these markets, I mean, go play basketball instead of playing basketball against Michael Jordan. Come play against somebody like me who, you can go. I didn't even play basketball, right? Who are you going to pick to play against? Play against me. Clearly, you have a much higher probability of winning. But we probably shouldn't even talk about this too much, so that way you can keep expanding.
No, we got. We'll talk to him in 20 years when I write a book about it. But listen, now I want to transition to, you more about life stuff. You lived in Central PA and you moved down to Florida. Why did you do that?
Yeah, so it's been a great move. But in 2000, so when I was younger, we didn't really get to travel ever. I grew up with divorced parents, and the area I work in, I mean, we weren't like, I'm not like making some soft story. We weren't like super, super poor or anything like that, but we definitely weren't wealthy. We were just like the average middle class family, right? Which when you have single parent households, you don't really get to do big vacations or anything like that. So in 2018, I was in college, and my girlfriend, who's now my wife, her aunt lived down here in Fort Lauderdale. It was spring break, so we drove straight shot down like 22 hours straight down here to spend the week. And we didn't do like the big crazy spring break thing. We were just staying with her aunt. We're going to the beach, hanging out. And when I came down here, I was exposed to a new way of living. The amount of South Florida wealth is different level. I mean, there's probably a couple pockets in the country, like a Scottsdale area, out in California, but Coral Gables in Miami just passed Beverly Hills as the most expensive housing market now. Now there's more billionaires in Miami than any other city. It's the yacht capital of the world. So like if I walk down 2 blocks down my road, the Fertitta brothers that helped fund the UFC initially to get that off the ground, their family owns casinos. Their yacht is parked down the road. It's $100 million yacht.
My dad went to high school with their cousin. Mm-hmm.
Oh, really? Yeah, they're Tillman Fertitta.
Mm-hmm.
I think is yeah. He's a beast too.
Mm-hmm.
But so basically came down here, and I was just astounded because where I grew up, there weren't like any wealth. There were people that had money, they owned the car dealerships or something like that. But the pinnacle was like was a doctor. And if you're looking at success from like a financial perspective, I think doctors are very poor. Yes, maybe the dollar amount that comes in is good, but the work-life balance is absolutely terrible. Because I was a physical therapist, I worked at a hospital. I'd have a day where I'd start at 7 a.m. and then I'd have other days where I wasn't leaving until 6 p.m. Didn't matter when I came, the doctor's cars were there all day long. They were there, which is why businesses, if you're looking to optimize for life, eventually up front with business, right? It's a ton of work. But the goal is like 10 years after that, you have more freedoms and things like that. But back to Fort Lauderdale, I came down here and the wealth was just amazing. And I was like, if all of these people can achieve this, I don't think they're much different from me because I've always been hungry. I've always really wanted it. I've been entrepreneurial. I just didn't know where and what business to place that energy in. till I found this one. This was the right one. That gave me the escape velocity, got me out of the 9 to 5 job. All of that, became a true operator and things like that. But down here is where I recognized that I was like, this is possible. And I need to put myself around all these people, because when I was a wrestler, I would go to Bucknell for a wrestling club, which is a pretty good college. It's in Lewisburg, Pennsylvania. And there I got so much better because all of a sudden now, every 3 days a week, I'm wrestling with kids that are ranked top 10 in the country. Clearly, you're going to get better much quicker. It's the same thing as, you're the average of the 5 friends that you spend the most time with. So down here, I don't really hang out with many people because I'm mostly working. I like to spend time with my wife. That's kind of just how I like to live my life. I'm not an introvert, but that's what I like. But when you're just surrounded by all of this, and I'm not really materialistic to any point. Like, I don't really want a nice car. I have a Volkswagen Tiguan that gets me from A to B. I love that car. It's perfect. I don't care about having a Rolls Royce or a McLaren or anything like that. But when you just see them, like, it's just normal for a Rolls Royce to be riding down the road at any given time. It's a supercar show out here every single day. If you go out on the road for 20 minutes, you're going to see Bentleys, Lamborghinis, the Urus, all that out here. And then just in order to even buy a house that's near the beach or a condo near the beach, they're all multiple 7 figures. So in order to just live here, you are forced to level up. You have to get better, or else you're not going to last. You're not going to survive. You're going to have to go back to central Pennsylvania. So it just forces your standards for yourself to elevate. And which my goal, like my money goal, is just freedom. When I was a kid, there was stress with money all the time. I remember one time my dad got me a baseball bat, and it took like every single thing he had in order to get me that baseball bat. And I was like, my kids aren't going to feel that. They're not going to be spoiled brats, because I've been around them too. But if they're doing good for themselves and they need a baseball bat to play baseball with, like, I'm going to make sure that I can afford them a baseball bat. I don't want them to see me struggle for that. And also, my money goal is, I saw how much my parents sacrificed for me to be able to do the things that I did. And now I have to repay them. They don't need it. They don't want it. But that's what I want. I want to do that. I want to be able to take my dad when he was younger. He spent like a summer or two in Germany playing soccer, not professionally. He was just able to go live with someone's home, whose name was Andreas, aka English name Andy, who I am now. And he hasn't seen him in like 30 years or 35 years or whatever. And now I have the opportunity that next summer I am flying my dad to Germany to see him. And my dad texts him, and he's like, hey, I think we're going to be able to finally make it and come back. And Andreas responds, he's like, oh my gosh, Chris, like in a German accent with a voice note. And he's like, this is the best news I heard in a decade. I'm going to take the whole month of holiday off. It was funny. But like, I don't know. I know I kind of went off track with kind of the question to it, but I feel like it's kind of like a life story, all of it put together.
There's a guy I knew who I interviewed back in the podcast, young guy, worked in the military, has a couple businesses. His family grew up from nothing, Venezuela. He has a place in, Colombia, and then he lives in California now. And wherever. He took his parents to the ocean for the first time ever, and to watch a 65-year-old man and be so excited about the ocean, that was like, to me, it was like, okay, that's it. That's exactly what I care about. And that story you just told about your dad, like, that is how you get up every morning and you just keep pushing, because more of those, man, life is going to be pretty great.
Yep.
I'm with you. I don't really care about all the fancy stuff and all that stuff. I don't care about stuff like that. Experience, creating something for people, putting people together, hosting people, having something unique. Like, we've set goals in the business with revenue goals around travel with the family. So like, when we reach here, we're going to go here. When we reach here, we're going to go here. And my goal with those things is, I don't want to just go there. I want to go there. And what I mean is, like, I want to like experience it and not be pinching pennies. So that's why we're going to wait and do it the right way, do it one time. So if people want to track you down, they want to follow your website, they want to hear more about you, how would they do that?
Yep. So we are our agency. So we specialize with home service businesses. It's Striker Digital. So it's striker-digital.com. You can find me on Twitter. That's where you want the fastest response from me. You're going to get it on Twitter, because I feel like I live on there. Twitter has changed my life completely, but it's at Andy_WLKER, and you can get me there.
I love it. Guys, if you like this episode, send it to a friend, rate us and review us, and we'll see you next time.
Guys, let me take a minute to tell you about my buddies over at Lead Hub, Ben and Aaron, the best humans I know. Not only are they amazing at marketing for trade companies, but Ben started his HVAC company in his garage, sold it for multi-million dollars. So when this guy talks, I listen. When we took over Dietz Mechanical, we had 22 reviews in 22 years. In 7 short months, we went from 22 reviews to 107. We went from a 4.2 to a 4.7. We tripled our Facebook presence and we tripled our calls. If you're an HVAC, plumbing, electric, landscaping company, and you're looking for a no BS approach to marketing, you're looking for people who have done it before, you got to go to leadhub.net